What if the image you've seen for over a decade, high ponytail, oversized hoodie, flawless vocals, was just a mask? What if behind the glitter, there was a much darker, more complex reality forming the rise of Ariana Grande? No wonder people are beginning to look beyond the surface. This isn't just a pop star's journey. It's a story of pain, power, loss, reinvention, and the price of global fame. Ariana Grande Butera was born in Boca Raton, Florida. From a very young age, she was driven, talented, and obsessed with music. But her breakthrough came not through music, but television. Cast as Cat Valentine on Victorious, Ariana stepped into the world of Nickelodeon at just 15 years old. What seemed like a fun, quirky role quickly became a golden cage. Behind the scenes, there were whispers about inappropriate jokes, overly suggestive scenes, and a toxic work environment. Ariana herself later admitted feeling overlooked and creatively stifled. She wasn't allowed to write her own songs. She wasn't taken seriously as a vocalist. She was typecast as the ditzy redhead in a world that didn't want her to be anything more. Child stars often lose control of their identity, and Ariana's journey was no different until she fought back. When Ariana launched her debut album Yours Truly in 2013, the world was stunned. That voice, soulful, powerful, mature beyond her years, didn't match the image people had of Cat Valentine. By the time My Everything and Dangerous Woman came out, it was clear. Ariana wasn't a teen actress anymore. She was a pop force. But this transformation didn't come without backlash. The media questioned her every move. Was she too sexy? Was she trying too hard? People who once ignored her suddenly felt entitled to critique every detail of her body, her voice, her relationships. Still, Ariana refused to shrink. Her stage presence grew bolder, her lyrics more raw. This was her first real fight for autonomy, and she wasn't backing down. On May 22, 2017, during her concert in Manchester, the unthinkable happened. A suicide bomber detonated a device, killing 22 people, many of them children and teens who came to see Ariana sing. The trauma shook her to the core. She canceled her tour. She couldn't sleep. She couldn't perform. The weight of so many lives lost at her concert was unbearable. But what Ariana did next showed a level of courage the world wasn't expecting. She returned to Manchester just weeks later and hosted One Love Manchester, a benefit concert that raised millions for the victims' families. She cried on stage. She hugged fans. She stood in the place that broke her and tried to heal it. It was a turning point in her public identity. She wasn't just a performer anymore. She had become a figure of hope, mourning, and resilience. In 2016, Ariana began dating Mac Miller, a talented rapper and one of her closest collaborators. Their love was real, raw, and creative, but also shadowed by his addiction. When they broke up in 2018, Ariana faced criticism. When Mac died months later from an overdose, the internet turned hostile. Thousands of fans blamed her, said she abandoned him, said she moved on too fast with Saturday Night Live comedian Pete Davidson. Behind the scenes, Ariana was collapsing. She wrote in her music about therapy, anxiety, and the overwhelming burden of fame. She said she felt empty, but the world was too busy judging her to listen. In 2019, Ariana released Thank You Next, an album that sounded like healing, but felt like crying in a glittery dress. The lead single became a cultural moment, name-dropping her exes and flipping heartbreak into empowerment. But if you listened closely, the songs revealed deep exhaustion, fear, and loss. "I've loved and I've lost, but that's not what I see," she sang. But what did she see? Was she healing or hiding? The Ariana we saw in public was stronger than ever, but her lyrics hinted that she was barely holding it together. Let's talk about something deeper. Ariana has been praised for being a feminist icon, body positive, and outspoken. But critics argue she has also used racial ambiguity and cultural appropriation as part of her branding. From changing her skin tone to altering her voice and style, was this calculated marketing? Or just a young woman trying to find her identity under a billion-dollar spotlight? The truth might lie somewhere in between. Ariana didn't create the industry. She was created by it, and now she's trying to take the wheel. Imagine growing up in an industry that profits from your pain, that turns your trauma into headlines and your tears into TikToks. Ariana has been marketed as everything: the good girl, the bad girl, the grieving woman, the empowered survivor. But how much of her story has she actually owned? Her rise is dark not because she failed, but because she survived a machine that eats its young. The same machine that elevated her, tried to crush her, again and again. Now in her 30s, Ariana is stepping into a new chapter, marriage, film roles, more control over her music. But even now, she's followed by judgment, her recent divorce, her rumored relationships. Her every facial expression at an award show becomes viral content. Is there ever a true after for someone like Ariana? Or has the darkness of her rise become the very fuel that keeps her relevant? Ariana Grande is more than just a pop star. She's a symbol of talent, of tragedy, of transformation. But she's also a mirror for how we treat young women in power, for how we demand vulnerability and punish it the second it becomes inconvenient. So we ask you, is Ariana Grande finally in control of her story, or still playing a role in someone else's script? Let us know in the comments. Subscribe for more stories like this, raw, real, and never surface level.